Okay, today we are going to be using Scratch again. So like we did last week, you need to type Scratch into Google and search it. It's the first one at the top, and then you need to click Start Creating. Remember, we don't need this green box, so we can delete it. Today, we're going to be creating a rocket and an earth animation. We're going to look at how we can make the animation so it looks like the rocket is flying all the way to Earth. So the first thing we need to do is replace this cat. The sprite of the cat we don't need. So at the bottom, we can just press the little dustbin with the cross through to get rid of that sprite. Okay, I now need to choose a sprite. So remember that we did this last week. I'm going to go on to choose a sprite and I'm going to type in a rocket. There's my rocket ship. I'm going to click on it and that becomes my first sprite. But because I want it to fly to Earth, the Earth needs to be another sprite. So I go back on to choose a sprite. And this time I'm going to type in Earth. Okay, I'm going to move my Earth sprite up to the top corner. I'm going to move my rocket ship down. It doesn't look like a very nice background, so I'm going to get a better background. I'm going to choose a backdrop and I'm going to type in stars. I like the galaxy one, so I'm going to click on that one. At the moment, my rocket is just pointing up, whereas I want it to fly on an angle so that it reaches the Earth this way. So remember, when we want to change what something looks like on Scratch, we go on to costumes. Make sure that your rocket ship is the one selected because that's the costume we want to change. Now I'm going to click on the arrow and I'm going to draw a box, and I'm holding down my mouse whilst drawing a box. And then at the bottom of the box there's a little arrow that's pointing both ways. I'm going to use my hand cursor to move it so that it is pointing on a diagonal. As you can see over here, it is changed. I'm happy with that, so I am going to leave it like that. Now that I am happy, I'm going to click back onto code and I'm going to code the rocket ship. So I'm still selected the rocket ship, so that's good. I need my trigger first, which is under control. Oh, not control, sorry, it's under events, the one above. I'm going to use when the green flag is clicked. So when I click the green flag, I want my rocket to always be in this position. If you look at the bottom of the screen, it's got an x-axis which goes along here and a y-axis which goes along to the top. The position of this rocket at the moment is x minus 142 and y minus 6, 6. So because I want it to always start in that position, I am going to need to tell my program to do that. So I am looking for one that says point to. I have got a point and direction here, point and direction 90, and over here it says 90, so I'm going to drag that one over. So it's always going to point at that 90-degree angle. But now I want it to always go to this position when I press the green flag. So I'm going to use this one. As you can see, it's got the same numbers as over here. So I don't need to change these numbers because it's representing this in the same position. I want my rocket to talk, so I am going to use looks, and I am going to get it to say, let's go. So I can just type that in the box. It's going to say, let's go for 2 seconds. I'm happy with that. So just before it goes, it needs to be pointing towards the Earth. So I need to go back in motion to tell it where to go. And instead of pointing direction, I want it to point towards. And you can see it's either the mouse pointer, which I don't want. I want it to point towards the Earth sprite. But at the moment, it's still looking like this. So I need it to move to the Earth. So I'm going to say to glide, because glide is a movement. But it's saying to glide to -142 and -66, which is this position. I don't want it to glide to that position. I want it to glide to the position of the Earth. So I'm going to click on the Earth sprite, and here I can see the Earth's locations. X172, so if I click back on the rocket ship, and in here write X172, go back to the Earth, and it's Y107. Back to the code, Y107. So now that should glide to the Earth. Okay, let's press the green flag and give it a go. Now, if I wanted to do it again, I wouldn't have to move that sprite at all, because look what happens when I click my green flag. It goes right back to the beginning. And the reason it goes right back to the beginning is because at the start, we told it to point in direction 90, which was down here, and to go back to the position of -142, -66, which was right down here where it started. So I never have to move it because my code tells it exactly how to go back to the start. Now, you can challenge yourself and fiddle about with changing the numbers in this algorithm. You could try to make the rocket move slower to the Earth. How are you going to make it move slowly across the screen? You might want to make it move faster across the screen. So have a think about which block you would need to change to make it go slower or faster. Now that you know how to do it with the rocket ship and the Earth, maybe you could have a go at creating a different animation using the same blocks, but remember, the numbers will need to change depending on where your sprites are. You could have a play around and see whether you can create a different animation where one thing can glide across your screen to somewhere else. I hope you have fun.